So understand with regards to when you experience yourself in a manifested mind possession state, while or when facing particularly specifically a conflict situation, wherein while you're facing someone, no matter what the relationship, and as you're having your discussion and it's becoming a bit heated and manifesting into a conflict experience. Now, during and within that event, what you'll notice is, yet again, your reactions are coming up, your thoughts are particularly specifically directed to and towards the being with whom you are having this conflict manifesting within that moment. So, in some situations, your thoughts might become more prominent. In other situations, your reactions will become more prominent. And in other situations, your physical will start becoming more rigid, stiff, wherein you create then the perception, idea, or belief that you're standing, but actually you are holding yourself within and as a particular specific reaction to attempt or try to not to react. But in that attempting or trying not to react, you are reacting, and you'll notice your body actually becoming like the statue, and your breathing is actually very shallow. That is not standing, that is attempting or trying to hold your composure, which is just another form of suppression. What you'll see when you accept and allow yourself to hold yourself in such a state is that after the conflict point has happened, after the experience or event, your thoughts will start running towards the being, wherein what you were actually experiencing subconsciously and unconsciously that you were suppressing in that moment will come out in your thoughts that you will then direct towards the being that you experience the conflict situation with. So these are the 3 points to have a look at when or while facing a conflict situation. You'll have different forms of reaction. Your physical reaction, where you try and hold your composure. Your thought reaction, where your thoughts will start being directed towards the being. Or your emotional feeling reaction, where your energies will start coming up. You'll have either one individually. You can have all three at the same time, or the three of them mixed or intertwined. But those are the 3 most prominent reactions that you can have a look out for. So while you're experiencing any of those 3 reactions, understand that you cannot trust anything that you are seeing in that moment in relation to another being. Most of the time, what will happen, especially with regards to your thoughts, is it'll go to blame. Projected blame, where you are in that moment utilizing projection to hide your self-responsibility in your reaction participation in that moment in relation to the situation or the point and or the being. So whenever in that moment thoughts come up towards the being, know and understand that you are, if you have a look at your experience, self-honesty in relation to your reaction in physical, energy and mind, that any and all thoughts projected towards another being is actually a reflection of yourself. So you cannot trust any ideas, perceptions, images or pictures that come up in your mind in relation to the other being. Like, for example, thoughts coming up like, oh, he or she is doing this or that, and this is why we're now in this situation, and he or she is possessed, and it's their fault that or they're the cause of us being in this situation. And or thoughts like, why can't they see what they're doing? And you know, your thoughts will be projected towards the other being, when in fact, if you self-honestly stop and have a look at yourself in that moment, you're the one that is equally in reaction in that moment, either and or physically, mentally and energetically. So be careful of the point of trying or attempting to hide in blame. That is another deceptive method of the mind consciousness system as a protective defense mode for and of ego and self-interest. It's a more subtle way or method of fighting and defending a particular specific point or position or stance within and as your mind consciousness system in relation to your ego, wherein your thoughts will go to blame and projection as it being the other being's fault, as they being the source or cause, and everything is on them, but in fact you're not considering yourself equally as participant within the situation, because it takes two to tango. So this is practical support and assistance for when you're in a conflict situation and your thoughts start going towards the other being as it being the other being's fault, their being the point of possession. Always make sure that you check self first, because your thoughts will predominantly within that moment, while you're also in reaction, reveal who you are accepting and allowing yourself to be in that moment. So again, basically what that would indicate is that you've already accepted and allowed yourself to go too far within a mind possession point. You're allowing yourself to listen to your thoughts and reactions and not being self-honest and taking self-responsibility for your equal participation in that conflict situation or moment. So when you find that your thoughts are again going to blame, know that it's a flag point for, I'm trying to hide myself, my self-responsibility, my self-honesty behind blame. I stop, I breathe through that moment. You make sure that you are stable, that you're not accepting and allowing yourself to react. And guys, the most effective support is to always discuss something openly and equally. Exactly like I'm having a conversation here with you. It's simply discussing the point. And when the reactions start coming up, to breathe through the reactions. Acquire that self-discipline to not accept and allow yourself to speak within reaction. It'll take time, it'll take practice, because you've got to relearn how to live for you in self-awareness and self-honesty, and not through predetermined automatic reactions. Remember, it's not about trying to get your way. We're here to learn, see what it is that you can learn about a point or about an experience that opened up in a moment. Have both parties equally participate, like put the point in front of you and say, okay, this is what I experience about this point, and then have the other person say, this is what I see about this point, and then see if either of you had past experiences in relation to the point. You know, don't make it personal, meaning like defining yourself according to the point that opened up. More discuss it in relation to the point opening up in itself. It doesn't matter in who it opened up. And then you say, for example, I noticed that you immediately rolled your eyes and did a big sign, like lifted up your hands. Did you notice that? And you say, you know what, I've seen myself do that as well. And I haven't yet looked at it quite specifically. Would you like to let us have a look at it? What is that energy? What is the consequences if we accept and allow ourselves to go into it? If we, this is how I experience that moment. This is the thoughts that come up. You know, you guys can actually have fun in investigating how it is that we've constructed ourselves as programs, as designs that is just like functioning automatically. Use these opportunities to get these automation, pre-programmed mind consciousness system crap out of us, so that we can enjoy each other, you know, and start living. Not try and always look for faults or problems or blame, but to rather re-look at how we live and how we interact from a point of how we can learn, not from a point of fighting. Okay, thank you.